The preacher has a great responsibility to preach in the church. But there are those preachers that do want someone else's wife. They have a desire with this woman or a woman in the church. And it has become difficult for that preacher to preach the gospel, to see that woman in worship service or Bible study or a church event, because that preacher has set his eyes on that woman. What decision will he make when this is not a godly situation? Part 4, which is the last part of this particular lesson about a preacher wanting someone else's wife in the church. And God has set forth what a preacher is supposed to be doing. And preachers must be careful. They must live with a mindful desire to serve the Lord, resist temptation, and to walk in the way that God has set forth for a preacher. The book of John in chapter 12, verse 26. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, my servant also will be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. Preachers must be serving the Lord. And when preachers are not following the Lord, they're not honoring the Lord. And when a preacher doesn't honor the Lord, they can get involved in a situation like this. Are you a preacher right now that may be listening to this lesson? Are you a woman that knows that the preacher has a desire to be with you? He wants to come over your home. He wants to invite you in his office. He's always smiling and looking in a way that he's very fond of you. You know it's wrong. He knows that it's wrong. But the temptation or having the desire to be with someone is much stronger. But every preacher must follow the Lord. In the book of Psalms, chapter 62, verse 7, my salvation and my honor depend on God. There's no one that we can find salvation in except through Jesus, his son. He is my mighty rock, my refuge, the stronghold that we must hold on to. Because there will be desires in this life. And we're going to want to pursue what we're tempted by. How many preachers have strayed from God's word and honoring God and serving the devil, getting involved with someone else's wife, meeting them at parks and other places, motels, places of secrecy. We need to be thinking about being obedient in the Lord. And preachers must follow what God has instructed for them to do. In the book of Galatians, in chapter 5, verse 16, so I say, walk by the Spirit, walk with the Lord, talk with the Lord, honor your mind, your body, and your soul, your spirit with the Lord. You've got to walk by the right spirit and not the devil. And he would not gratify the desires of the flesh, or you would not gratify the desires of the flesh. We know that there always will be situations, whether they're in the church or away from the church. We're going to be tempted by the flesh. We're going to see something that is appealing to us. How are you going to deal with these kinds of things? Paul wrote in the book of Colossians in chapter 3, verse 5, put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, wanting someone else's wife, evil desires, being with someone else's wife that is unfaithfulness, and greed, which is idolatry, idolizing things of this world, the flesh, which is sin. The time is right now to follow the Lord. All preachers, and if a preacher is in this predicament, change that course right now before you cause your marriage to be over, before you affect that woman's life in her marriage. There have been people harmed, people killed because of being with someone else's wife. There are preachers that may have been caught dead or in situations where they don't want to be caught, in hotels or motels or in a car, in a parking lot somewhere. In the book of 1 John in chapter 2, verse 17, the world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever. Live for the Lord. Be prepared. Our preachers must follow the Lord and preach what God is commanding you to do. The time is always right now to walk in newness of life, to be the preacher that God has set forth for you to be. And for the woman that's seeing that a preacher may be falling into temptation, that they resist and they turn away and say, I'm married. This is wrong. And not get drawn into something like this. And honor the Lord always until the day of judgment and be ready for his kingdom for eternity.